Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Today we're looking at Inhumanity. This is number one. This is a Marvel comic. I don't remember what year this came out, but I just reread this because I love the Inhumans. So this is a Marvel comic starring the Inhumans, and I'll talk about the creative team when we get it. This is also the first time with a tripod, so let me know how this works out for you guys. It's weird. I don't know what to do with my hands. All right, so Marvel was doing this thing with AR comics. You put your phone on it, and you could, whenever you see that symbol, you could. I never did it because I didn't believe it or not, I didn't have a cell phone or anything back then. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this comic. The premise is Thanos wanted to kill his son Thane, and Thane was revealed to be not only just the son of Thanos, but he's also an hereditary Inhuman. So Thanos couldn't find him, whatever. So now Thanos is just going to start killing Inhumans, and he went around slaughtering Inhumans. And in order to defeat Thanos, kill two birds with one stone, so to speak, Maximus and Black Bolt, they detonated a bomb, and this bomb just like blew up Attilan, the hidden city, and it also spread the Terrigin mists out to everyone. So the theory is that there was like people who had inhuman genes in their bodies, whatever, through like a schism way in the past, and they became Inhumans. So let's take a look at the comic. Let's open it up and see what's going on. Look at that. I'm trying to get this glare out of here. So we have this splash page that, to me, Marvel was doing this stuff. To me, this is just a waste of page. Look at that. Look at that garbage. I, if I didn't buy this for $2 in the back issue bin, I would have been pissed off at that splash page. So here we look at this glossy paper. It's just driving me nuts in this my lighting. So that's the city itself blowing up. Boom, 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 kabrash, kaboom, kabam, kabam. And here we have the aftermath. So this is the city blowing of Attilan. Attilan, if you remember, was the Great Refuge. That was the name of the Inhuman city, and it it had various places. I think it was like Marvel editorial was messing up back in the 70s and 60s. So like, they kind of fixed things. They said that it had like anti-gravity pods on it, and you could actually move the city itself. So the city, and then the city itself actually was like space worthy. You could close everything and fly it off of one of the miniseries. So originally, as far as I know, it was like in the Himalaya mountains. And then Reed Richards in the John Byrne area of the Fantastic Four, they relocated it to the moon. And then for a short while, they relocated it like off the coast of Portugal. And here it is floating over Manhattan, because that's what the United States government wants. They want a floating ship the size of a city, filled with everybody with untapped superhuman abilities floating all over Manhattan. That's not going to cause an international incident. So here it is, and it blows up. Boom, boom. Black. I think they explained it. I'm going to flip a few pages before I start getting into some real geek deep lore. But here it is. This is like this Terrigenous wave is just coming out. And like, if you have like an latent inhuman gene in your body, you mutate into these disgusting little chrysalises, like caterpillar pads. And then you just wait. And some of the people die while in the pods because they have enough of the inhuman gene in them to trigger the catalyst stage, but they don't have enough to break out and finish the transformation. So they're like, I don't know, I have since learned that like when a caterpillar turns into a butterfly, while it's in the whatever you call it, the cocoon. I couldn't think of that word. While it's in the cocoon, it's not just like growing wings. It like turns into like a liquid and like a slurry, like a gelatinous thing. And so I imagine that's what these people are in. Like, I don't know. That's because I just learned it, so it's stuck in my head. And here we have Thor, Captain America, Scarlet Witch. I think that's Henry Gyrich. And there's Iron Man over there. And what are they doing? They're just watching Karnak. He was one of my favorite Inhumans. And Karnak is taking this really, really bad. Look at him. He's just lining up skulls and everything like that. And he just attacks the Avengers. And I'd like to think that they're not fighting him that hard, because the Avengers could take out Karnak, if you ask me. But Karnak is not to be trifled with. And here they imprisoned him in this high-tech prison. That's not really give them a nice view of Manhattan. I mean, I know people that would pay for a room this size with a view like that. They'd pay like $2,000 or $3,000 a month rent for a place like this in Manhattan. So he gets one chair and a view of Manhattan and a force field. And Clint Barton, Hawkeye, is just talking to him. Now, who is Karnak? Okay, I forgot to describe who Karnak is. Karnak is Black Hathor Boltagon, Black Bolt's cousin, and he's one of the royal family. So he has this elongated skull, as you can see. Look, here he is right here. Thor always calls him Eggman, and he has this large head. And what he could do, he could like psionically scan things and figure out its weaknesses. So he could find flaws in, originally it was just like he had like super karate, and he could like find a flaw in a material and karate chop it and chop it in half or shatter it or something like that. But they've expanded the powers, because I always say this, power creep happens, and they expanded his powers to be like he could find like the mental flaws and psychological flaws of beings too. So it's kind of cool. So he's like the Zed master of the Inhumans, and he could karate chop things and destroy things and whatever using his power. So keep in mind, he's trapped in this cage. What is he doing? He's scanning everybody. He can't help it. You got Karnak. That's what he's doing. Karnak is scanning. He's probing the people. Kind of like Hannibal Lecter. He's asking questions, and he's trying to find whatever weakness. And here, this is what I held on for, because I remember that it was in here. This is the secret origin of the Inhumans. And even though this was like, I kind of quit Marvel around this period because they were just being so disrespectful to the past. And I thought they were being disrespectful to the longtime comic collectors. If you're just going to change things just for the short term sales boost, stuff like that, to me that's kind of disrespectful to people who spent thousands and thousands of dollars, that's me, on this material. So like, if you don't respect me, you don't respect the material, you don't respect the creators, then I can't click. So I literally cold turkey quit Marvel Comics in 2014. So this stuff I pick up. I guess the phone's shaking. I'm sorry, because I'm stamping because I'm getting excited. I'll sit still. This stuff I picked up for like $2 in back issue bins. So there you go. So out of curiosity, what is the cover price for this? $4. So I got it for half price. Okay, cool. They kept it in excellent condition for me, and they sold it to me for half price a couple of years later. All right, so here we have cavemen. This is 25,000 years ago or whatever. And this is the Kree. Who are the Kree? The Kree are, according to the Marvel history, and this is something that always changes, but they are aliens from the M31 galaxy. That's like that small galaxy that orbits our galaxy. They come from there. And what do? They are like the oldest humanoid race and highly advanced. So they're like the highest scientifically advanced civilization near us in our local galaxy range. And they just started conquering. There's no other way to describe it. They're never portrayed as the good guys. They've got these blue-skinned aliens. And they are, them and the Celestials were doing ancient abductions before it was cool. And they took local cavemen and they brought them in and they experimented on them. Why? Because they are at war with everybody else. If you're not a Kree, they are at war with you. Supposedly, I don't know if this has been memory hold, but supposedly like the Skrulls were peaceful people, a peaceful race of people until the Kree encountered them, and they caused the Skrulls to like overtime with the war. Now Skrulls are just as bad. And what is it? Here's the Kree, here's the Skrull, and then we're in the middle. So when they fight, we get caught up in the middle. So they're looking for like troops that they could conscript, and they found these savage barbarian humans, proto-humans, whatever. Maybe they were humans at this point. 25,000 years ago, they were humans. So they experimented on them. They fast evolved them into like perfect beings, and then they left. And then like, yeah, we'll come back. We'll leave them. When we need them, we'll come back and get them. That's what they did. We they dropped the seeds. They're gonna let them, let the eggs cook for a while or whatever. And here, this is like Randak. That's like one of they always used to be like Randak's bones. That was like their legendary king leader, and he founded the city of Adelan. And what he also found is the Kree experiments left their genes in like a state of like slow flux, if that makes sense. That's the way I'm going to describe it. A slow metamorphosis. And they invented these crystals, these Terrigin mist crystals that could unlock their potential. So what they did was you could be exposed by Terrigenesis. And why am I getting involved? Because I'm watching Agents of Shield here, and this is like big in the Agents of Shield show, which I actually like. And here's Karnak explaining all this to a sympathetic Clint Barton, Hawkeye. Hawkeye is one of my favorite Marvel characters. Um, I always thought it was lame. You know, you're hanging out with Thor and Iron Man, stuff like that. You could shoot arrows. So it's funny that all the like arrow shooting superheroes always seem to have like a bombastic, over the top personality to make up for the pretty lame skill set. You know what I mean? Like whatever. No offense to archers, but you're not superheroes. I just lost that one subscriber who was an Olympic archer. But anyway, what I mean is they really developed his character. He was a bad guy at first, and he became a good guy. So he's always like sympathetic. He's one of the guys that's like, first off, he's like a rebel. Second off, he's like very individualistic. Third off, he's always willing to give people like the benefit of the doubt. Like he's just a pretty cool guy. Like out of all the Avengers, you know, everybody likes Captain America. I was gonna say, like, out of all the Avengers you want to hang out with, I would want to hang out with Clint Barton. I mean, of course, you want to hang out with Tony Stark. He's cool. Captain America's the charismatic guy. Hulk, whatever. But I always had a soft spot for Clint Barton. Not Jeremy Rainier. He does not play Hawkeye. He's not the comic book Hawkeye. Although they've been molding, if you ask me, they've been forcing the comic book Hawkeye to become Jeremy Rainier. The comic book Jeremy Rainier. The comic book Hawkeye is a more dynamic, outgoing, cooler character than the comic books will ever be. But anyway, so he's an ex-bad guy trying to make up for his past, and he's got this like inferiority complex. He's always overcompensating, and he's got a soft spot for the poor guy. So he sees Karnak as like a suffering guy down on his luck, and that's just like, you know, that's his bread and butter. You know, he's just like, I feel you, buddy. So now he's just listening to the story, and they know Thanos is coming, and Thanos is killing Inhumans. That's another thing. The movie version of Thanos is not as scary as the comic book version. The comic book version of Thanos, he's a serial killer. That's it. He's a serial killer. He's the ultimate serial killer. He wants to kill. And now he went through phases. He's going to kill half the universe. He's past that phase. Now he at this point he wants to just like kill all of his offspring. You know, he hates himself, so of course he has to kill off all of his offspring. And now he found that he has an Inhuman child, so he's killing the Inhumans because therefore he'll kill his son sooner or later, wherever he's at. So what is Gorgon doing? Gorgon's rushing his son through the Terrigenesis process. Who is Gorgon? That's another cousin and member of the royal family. He's my favorite. I always have a soft spot for these big, gruff, tough guys with hearts of stone, like hearts of stone, hearts of gold. He always portrays himself as a tough guy and a gruff guy, and he's like the drill sergeant of the Inhumans. He trains them. He you know, he'll beat you up and stuff like that. But at the same time, he's like the first to congratulate you, and you know, I just love that. Anyway, so here he is over here. He's putting his son, and the word balloons are saying like his son knows that he's too young for this, and his father's trying to act brave, but he's scared. And the kid's going through the Terrigenesis process. Why is he rushing to do this? For two reasons. They're hoping that he'll give himself power to defend himself against Thanos, and then if Thanos comes, all of this machinery is going to be lost. This could be his only chance. So yeah, it has to be done. And then the kid comes out as this buffalo soldier over here. Look at that. That's just terrifying. And the kid's like, oh, you know, he hugs his father and whatever. And they're implying that there's something wrong with the boy because he was too young for this process. Okay, they wait. It's you know, it's like a coming of age ritual, and the kid was too young. And here comes Thanos, and that's Maximus the Man. Who's Maximus the Man? He's Black Bolt's older brother. That kind of got forgotten about. That he's the actual rightful heir of the Inhuman throne, but he's crazy. He's mad. He's, you know, he's evil or whatever. So he got dethroned, and his younger brother Black Bolt became the king. So he's always trying to get his throne back. You know, and that he has a faction of like people like, no, you don't get to, you know, the king is the king is the king. You don't get to overthrow the king. So he has a loyal, hardcore faction. This is Medusa. This is Black Bolt's wife and his cousin. Yeah, you know, they're whatever. They're Inhumans, inbred, whatever. And well, we'll get to that. This is all flashback, so I'll catch up to the story. And they say you got to get out of here. This is Lockjaw. Lockjaw has the ability to transport through dimensions. He could teleport like almost anywhere in the universe and anywhere through dimensions. And lately they've been playing up with like he could go through like space time, so he could teleport through time. He could teleport whatever. He's the ultimate teleporter, and he's a dog. But is he a dog? That's just that's a thing. They implied in the Avengers, well, not implied. They outright said the Avengers that this was another human because all the Inhumans are born looking like normal people. And then he went through the Terrigenesis process and he became this. And I thought that was great because they didn't have any other animals that like none of the, like that would just, to me, destroy the whole concept of the Inhumans, that it's also animals. So it has to be humans. And then they kind of memory hold that and retconned it that it was just Quicksilver playing a joke. But I don't know. Does anybody know? I don't know. I'm on like an Inhumans kick, so I'm like rereading a lot of Inhumans comics right now. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. But I'm only reading the actual Inhumans comics, so maybe it happened. It's funny that I was just thinking about this the other day, but my memory of the West Coast Avengers is like non-existent. Like every time I look at covers, stuff like I have them all, I read them all, but for whatever reason, my memory of them is terrible. But okay, I'm babbling. So let's get back to this. Let's focus. So Lockjaw and Medusa, they're all leaving. There's another Inhuman that they didn't show him in this particular issue. And his power is he could tell. He looks like a doorway. He looks like a big head-shaped doorway, like one of those Olmec heads. That's what. And you pass through his mouth, and he teleports you where you need to go. So he's like the Zen teleporter. So all the Inhumans are being evacuated. They're being scattered. Why? Because this way Thanos doesn't know where you are. You can't capture an Inhuman and torture him and give up other Inhumans. Whatever. So I'll get back to that later. So they're going through this. Crystal, that's another one. That's the one Johnny Storm loved, who ended up marrying Quicksilver and then cheating on him. And here they teleported right into Manhattan. They're looking at the city of Atelon, however you pronounce it. And she's watching it blow up. Boom, 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 boom. And here we have now Tony Stark and Clint Barton, Hawkeye, are talking to poor Karnak. Look at this. I don't know. It's just pretty cool. This armor always looked like I don't know, like more badass than this like flexible armor and stuff like that. But I don't know. I do like this armor. I got to say the art, the coloring in this. Oh, geez, did I skip over the credits? Oh well. I'll talk about the credits. So I'm on a roll. So here's Black Bolt screaming. Wah! And what is it? Black Bolt's? He's the king. He's the direct descendant of Randak, and he screams and blows up the city. And this thing, it's activated that fires off the Terrigenesis. I don't know why he had to blow up the city. Why couldn't they just do that? But whatever. And boom, there's a mist of Terrigin mist that just blows all, and look at all these cocoons. This is like shield or aim or all the powers that be are gathering up these cocoons. And I don't know, maybe there's something wrong with me, but I'm like, can you blame them? Some of these people are like walking bombs, and when they come out, and that's something that Gorgon says, is that the humans psychologically are prepared for Terrigenesis transformation their entire lives, and now all of a sudden there's humans who didn't even know that, whatever. And they're going to transform. Not it would be cool if, okay, I got electrical powers, I got Spider-Man powers or whatever. But some of them are going to turn into like monstrous appearances, stuff like that. So can you blame them? And here we have the Illuminati. And who are the Illuminati? They joked about it because these are like the 6 superheroes that they banded together, and they set like the superhero policy for the world. So we have Inhuman. We have Black Bolt because he's the king of the Inhumans. We have Namor because he's the king of Atlantis. Reed Richards because he's the smartest man in the world. Black Panther because he's the king of Wakanda. Tony Stark because he's, what do you want to say, like the second smartest man or the greatest engineer? Let's call him the greatest engineer. Let's give them all like good things. And Doctor Strange because he's the greatest sorcerer in the world. And then the Beast, just because he's actually the one talking it, he's referencing the Illuminati. And each one of these guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, each one of these guys became like the custodian of an Infinity Stone after the Infinity War. Okay? And I forget who left, but one of them left and Xavier took over. Or Xavier took over, was replaced. But Xavier ended up getting killed. So I forget Xavier was in there too, because he was the representative of the mutant faction. So whatever. So here we go. There's talking to Karnak, and he's explaining all this. And Medusa comes in. Now she's the he's bowing and prostrate. He's pledging allegiance to her because she's now the only living queen. Black Bolt and Maximus were presumed dead. Now I didn't get this. I mean, I got this 2-issue series, but then it spurred on a couple of. So I don't know if I'm sure Black Bolt's still alive. I don't know. I'm just guessing because nobody ever dies permanently. So Black Bolt is presumed dead, and we never saw the body, so you know that means he's gonna come back. So he's pledging allegiance, and she's like, "Come on, Karnak, you're the smartest Inhuman. We don't have time for your feeling sorry for yourself. We got to get going." And here's an ad. Rogue Planet. Look at this. This is just like. To be like all the new #1s, you know, Marvel. They just every comic's a #1. Every comic's a #1. You know, this was amazing. I showcased Miracle Man #1, and now Marvel bought the rights to it, and they're redoing it. Excellent series, one of the best comic book series of all time. All right, so 21 minutes. Let me speed this up. So here we're going back to the bomb about to blow off. There's Lockjaw, and they're off. This is back in time. When Raddak proposed this Terrigenesis, I like what they're saying because they're saying that a lot of Inhumans who lived in Avalon, and keep in mind they're all human looking, but they're like perfect humans, kind of like Eternals, you know. So they have like heightened intelligence, heightened like endurance, and heightened strength, stuff like that. Maybe some agility or whatever, you know. In D&D terms, these guys all have like maybe they're close to 18 in all their stats. But they still look human. And Randak is saying we could unlock and make Terrigenesis. And who knows? And like you see, like she has like blue skin with the, like with what is that called? When you have like patches of white, I forget what that's called. And they're like, we don't want to change. You know, this guy's got bird wings, stuff like that. That guy's a freaky looking guy. That guy, you know, we're gonna stay human. You know, come on, this guy's all into it, but not everybody wants to all of a sudden have their body change into something that they're not used to, so they left. And when they left, they had to climb through the Himalaya mountains. A lot of them died. I mean, they were better than normal humans, but they were still humans, so a lot of them died. I think of this, if you read the similarity, this is like the sundering of the elves. You know, I'm also a Tolkien freak. I'll talk about Tolkien too if you guys want. So here they are climbing away and they're leaving, and then they're building like at first they built like their own city, and then later on some of them they splintered even more, and they mixed with normal humans, and that's why the Terrigin the Terrigin mist is affecting people throughout the world. And she's like, what? Black Bolt knew that, you know, we had humans living among humans and blah 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 blah, and he's like, yep, and then some of these Inhumans even traveled back into space looking for the Kree and blah blah blah, and that's how Thanos met up with an Inhuman in space and had a son, because some Inhumans, like again, maybe 100 years, 500 years ago, I don't know, they're not giving it, but they achieved space flight, left the Earth, and whatever. So now they're talking about look at this. This is AIM going around, and they're pulling. Or no, it's not AIM. It's SHIELD. They're going around and they're pulling cocoons out because they don't know what's going to happen. You know, it wouldn't be an insane thing to think that they open up and the person just explodes or something like that. It's nuclear power. So, you know, that's what they're doing. So as he's talking, he's carving in this like super Wakandan glass. He's like, is anybody concerned that he's scratching this like invulnerable glass? And this is what he makes. This is kind of brilliant if you ask me. This is Black Bolt's symbol. And he's like, he's been hiding it in plain sight. We were one people, and then we formed a schism. He goes, there, that was Black Bolt's symbol all along. You know, and it's like, and the secret is unbearable for me. And, you know, as bad as things get, they're going to get worse, because now the Kree are going to come and blah, blah, blah. He's talking about everything. Then he shatters the glass, and he jumps to his death. He jumps, and they're all like, they're trying to power down the shield, but remember, it was built to like hold the Hulk. So like, it's not just switch the button, let's go in. Like, it's got to power down and everything, so that they can't get in fast enough, and Karnak is dead already. Okay, here's the credit. Matt Fraction, not a fan. I like this story, but I don't know, something about Matt Fraction just gets under my skin. What does he do? He changes things up too much. not like Alan Moore changes things up, but Alan Moore's a genius. He can do that stuff. Matt Fraction, I think he's punching out of his league. Oliver, I can't say his name right. Coppell, excellent pencil. Excellent pencil. And the inks, Mark Morales, I don't know him other than this. Excellent pencils. And flashback art, linear, all these different arts. Just amazing. Marvel, at this point, I got to say their art was phenomenal. Their art teams were good. And Matt Fraction is famous. But I don't know. He just gets up here. And let's look at the Indicia over here, because I don't even know if I said it. 2014. This was the year I quit Marvel. So there you go. And next, they called this threw me off because it was Inhumanity Medusa #1, but they just called it Inhumanity #2. So there is actually no comic called Inhumanity Medusa #1. It's just Inhumanity 2. And this was just a short 2-issue series. And then they followed it up with another series just called Inhuman. And why I'm reading it now because I'm watching the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and like characters like Lash were introduced to the comic and they were put into the TV show. So I'm interested in that. All right. So there you go. 26 minutes talking about Inhumanity, a 2-issue limited series that was like, why did they do this? Why did the Marvel make a big deal about the Inhumans? Why? Because Sony had the rights to mutants. And Marvel couldn't, Marvel wanted to make the Inhumans the next big thing because the comic books could still talk about about mutants, but the Marvel movies couldn't talk about mutants because Sony had the rights to them. I think they've since lost the rights or gave up the rights or they're sharing the rights or whatever. So things like the X-Men, mutants, stuff like that, they couldn't tell all those persecution and identity politics stories about through mutants as a proxy because the moneymakers in the movies, not the comics. So they were switching to Inhumans. That's why S.H.I.E.L.D. was big on Inhumans and not mutants. And if you remember, Vin Diesel was going around wearing a shirt that said "Are you Inhuman?" because he was cast to play Black Bolt in the Inhumans movie that never saw the light of day. All right, and I gotta watch the TV show. Anybody see the TV show? Is it any good? All right, I've been talking for a half hour. All right, let me know how does this work with this tripod and this. The only thing is it's like at such an angle that I got this glare, so I got to fix that for the next video. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Guys, thanks a lot. You see, I am listening to your suggestions. I'm still trying to figure out how to photograph it, do like a talk over the photographs, but whatever. I'll try that, see how that works. All right, thanks a lot. I'll see you tomorrow with another video. See you later, everybody. Bye-bye.